In this video, we are going to discuss about swing introduction, limitations of AWT, key features of swings, differences between AWT and swings. Swings are mainly useful in order to overcome the limitations of AWT. We know what is AWT. AWT stands for Abstract Window Toolkit. AWT supports several controls, but AWT has some problems. In order to overcome all those problems, we use swings. So nowadays, in order to develop Windows applications, we are using swings. Mainly two types of applications are there: Windows application, web application. So Windows application means that application should be executed on that computer only. Windows application contains several GUI controls like label, text field, button, checkbox, radio button. If you use any of those controls, we have list, menu. Okay, if you use any of those controls, then we can say that it is Windows application. Whereas web application means that application should be executed on some internet. So we need to have some server in order to host that website. So that is nothing but what is web application. So here we use swings mainly to develop Windows applications. Okay, let's see the definition of a swing. Swing is a set of classes that provides more powerful and flexible GUI components than AWT. So AWT provides several GUI components, but swings provides additional components, more powerful and flexible components than AWT. Swings are part of JFC. JFC stands for Java Foundation Classes. So swings are a part of this technology, Java Foundation Classes. So that is about the introduction to the swing. Now let's see the differences between AWT and swing. The first difference is AWT components are platform dependent, whereas swing components are platform independent. So what is AWT components? AWT components are platform dependent. Here platform means operating system. That means AWT components depends upon the operating system. We have several AWT controls like label, text field, checkbox. Likewise, there are several AWT controls are there. Let's take the example of a checkbox. We know that a checkbox is represented with the help of a small rectangle. If the major advantage of Java programming is we can execute Java programs on any operating system. It may be Windows operating system or Linux or Solaris or Macintosh. We can execute Java program on any operating system. Here the problem is, if we uses checkbox, that means if we uses AWT control in Windows, then this checkbox will be printed in one shape. This is the shape only, but with a slight modification. If we uses checkbox in Linux operating system, then the checkbox will be displayed in another shape. If he uses the same checkbox in Macintosh operating system, it will be displayed in another shape with the slight modification. In any operating system, this symbol only will be printed, this small rectangle will be printed, but a minor modification will be there. Likewise, for every AWT control, there is a slight modification from one operating system to the another operating system. So that means AWT components are depends upon the corresponding operating system. Whereas coming to the swing components are platform independent. So that means if he uses swing components in any operating system, then the format is same only. So the same checkbox will be displayed in any operating system. The same button will get printed in any operating system. So that means here the point is swing components doesn't depend upon the operating system, whereas AWT components depends upon the operating system. That shape, that look varies from one operating system to the another operating system. Now let's see the second point. AWT components are heavyweight, whereas swing components are lightweight. So now let's see why AWT components are heavyweight. We know that AWT depends upon the corresponding operating system. Every operating system is developed with the help of some programming language. If you take the example of Windows operating system, Windows operating system was mainly developed using C#.NET. If you take the example of Linux operating system, let Linux operating system was written using C language. So here AWT components are heavyweight. Heavyweight means here these components depends upon that operating system native code. So for Windows operating system, the native code is Windows operating system was developed using C#.NET. So that means AWT components depends upon that C#.NET, as well as these components are written using Java language. So AWT component depends upon the corresponding C#.NET as well as Java language. So likewise, if you uses AWT components in Linux operating system, Linux operating system was written using C language. So AWT components depends upon that C language as well as it depends upon the Java. So here it is using two programming languages. In addition to the Java programming language, AWT components are using operating system native code programming language, operating system developed programming language. So that's why we can say that AWT components are heavyweight components. Whereas coming to the Swing components are lightweight. Why? Because because here we know that Swing components are platform independent. Swing doesn't depend upon the operating system. So Swing doesn't depend upon the operating system native code. Swing doesn't depend upon the operating system developed programming language. So we can say that Swing components are lightweight. Why? Because here the Swing depends only on the Java programming language. It doesn't depend upon any other programming languages. So that's why we can say that Swing components are lightweight. Now let's see the next point. AWT doesn't support pluggable look and feel. Why? Because AWT depends upon the operating system. So the look and feel will changes from one operating system to the another operating system. If we perform any modification, here pluggable means doing some modification. If you plug in any modification on the corresponding control, then that modification will not be reflected. Why? Because here the modifications are not fixed. It depends upon the operating system. AWT components depends upon the operating system code. So if we perform any modification, then that modification will not be reflected. So that's why we can say that it doesn't support pluggable look and feel. Why? Because here the look and feel will depends upon the corresponding operating system also. Whereas coming to the Swing supports pluggable look and feel. So if you perform any modification on that control, then that modification is fixed. So that same control will be reflected, will be displayed in all the operating systems. So it supports pluggable look and feel. So doing some modifications on the control will be reflected on all the operating systems. Now let's see the next point. AWT provides less components than Swings. In AWT we have only 10 components only, like we have label, text field, text area, button, checkbox group. Next we have choice, menu, scroll bar and menu bar. Only these are the controls which are present in AWT. Whereas coming to the Swings supports all the components which are supported by the AWT. But in addition, it supports more powerful components, like we have tables, J color chooser, okay. Next J file chooser, tabbed panes, scroll panes, trees, etc. So here the point is Swing supports all the components which are supported by the AWT. But in addition, it supports several other components. Now let's see the last difference. AWT doesn't follow MVC architecture. M stands for model, V stands for view, C stands for component. AWT doesn't follow MVC architecture. Here model means it represents database, view means that presentation logic, that Model means data logic, view means presentation logic. So component means it is the interface between the model and the view. Okay, it doesn't follows MVC architecture. Coming to the swing follows MVC architecture. Okay, so here these are the various differences between AWT and swings. Now let's see about key features of swings. Key features of swings are nothing but these 5 points. What is the first feature of swing? Swing components are platform independent. Second feature of swing components are lightweight. Third feature of swing supports pluggable look and feel. Fourth feature of swing provides more powerful components than AWT. And last key feature of swing follows MVC architecture. So these 5 are nothing but the key features of swings. And limitations of AWT. Limitations of AWT are nothing but these 5 points. AWT components are platform dependent. AWT components are heavyweight. Next, AWT doesn't support pluggable and look and feel. Next, AWT provides less components than swings. Last one, AWT doesn't support MVC architecture. So these 5 are nothing but limitations of AWT. These 5 are nothing but the key features of swings, and these 5 points are nothing but the differences between AWT and swings. So this is about all these topics.